The Lord be with you. A reading from the Holy Gospel according to St. John. Before the feast of the Passover, Jesus knew that his hour had come to pass from this world to the Father. He loved his own in the world, and he loved them to the end. The devil had already induced Judas, son of Simon the Iscariot, to hand him over. So during supper, fully aware that the Father had put everything into his power, and that he had come from God and was returning to God, he rose from supper and took off his outer garments. He took a towel and tied it around his waist. Then he poured water into a basin and began to wash the disciples' feet and to dry them with the towel around his waist. He came to Simon Peter, who said to him, "Master, are you going to wash my feet?" Jesus answered and said to him, "What I am doing you do not understand now, but you will understand later." Peter said to him, "You will never wash my feet." Jesus answered him, "Unless I wash you, you will have no inheritance with me." Simon Peter said to him, "Master, then not only my feet, but my hands and head as well." Jesus said to him, "Whoever has bathed has no need except to have his feet washed, for he is clean all over. So you are clean, but not all." For he knew who would betray him. For this reason he said, "Not all of you are clean." So when he had washed their feet, he put his garments back on and reclined at table again. He said to them, "Do you realize what I have done for you? You call me teacher and master, and rightly so, for indeed I am. If I, therefore, the master and teacher, have washed your feet, you ought to wash one another's feet. I have given you a model to follow, so that as I have done for you, you should also do." The Gospel of the Lord. On the night he was betrayed. We hear those words every time we celebrate the Eucharist. Every time we approach this sacred moment when Christ becomes truly present for us, body, blood, soul, and divinity, in the humble form of bread and wine, we start by remembering when it all began. It started on the night he was betrayed. Matthew, Mark, and Luke each make a point of walking us through what happened that night. They give us the ritual details, the bread, the wine, the blessing, and the breaking, the thanksgiving, and the sharing. It's all laid out quite carefully and intentionally. This is what we often call the institution of the Eucharist, and we even heard about it tonight in our second reading from St. Paul. It's an incredible gift, and it is a lasting gift. It's God's gift for the life of the world. We all know how essential food is to life, right? It's a basic need. And Jesus, in this moment, gives us something extraordinary. To nourish our spirits, to dwell within us, Jesus gives himself as food. He is the nourishment. And this is where it gets really amazing. This is the heart of our faith. Every Mass, every single Mass, we gather because Jesus asked us to. He asked us to do this in remembrance of me. And when the priest, acting in the person of Christ, in persona Christi Capitis, speaking those sacred words during the Eucharistic prayer, something profound happens. By the power of the Holy Spirit, that bread and wine really become the true presence of Jesus, his body and blood, his soul and divinity. What a mystery that is, and what a gift. And what a blessing we have as Catholics to get to receive him in Holy Communion. Because when we receive the Eucharist, we're not just taking something. We're actually being drawn into something. We're being brought into communion, okay? Into union with Christ, who came so that we might have life and have that life in abundance. And let's be honest, we need him. We need the Eucharist. Now here's something interesting. In St. John's Gospel, we don't hear at all about the bread and the wine at the Last Supper. John does not give us those ritual details. Instead, he draws our attention to something else. He shows us Jesus kneeling down to wash the disciples' feet. And it's not just a footnote to the story, it is the story. It's a powerful sign of what God's love actually looks like. Think about this. On the night he was betrayed, Jesus knew exactly what was coming. He knew that Judas would betray him. He knew that Peter, our patron, would deny him. He knew that the rest of them, Andrew, James, and Matthew, that they would all scatter. Every single one of them would let him down. And still, he pressed on. He knew that this was the moment, that the hour had come, and that the work of redemption is about to begin. Now, most of us, when we're faced with betrayal and hurt, we would probably shut down, maybe even lash out, or at the very least, stew in the pain and in the anger. But not Jesus. Instead, he does something completely unexpected. He kneels down. He takes the posture of a servant, of the lowest of servants, and he starts washing some stinky feet. He gets on his hands and knees on the floor. He pours water, and he tenderly serves those who are about to abandon him. Why? Because that's who God is. That is exactly who God is. And that is what divine love looks like. It gets down on its hands and knees. It washes the grime away. It touches the most unlovable parts of us and still loves. Jesus washed their feet with a love so deep and so generous that it cut through all of the layers, the fear, the pride, the resentment, and the pettiness. And that brings us here, to this Holy Thursday. Tonight, we're invited to do two simple things, but they're powerful things. First, to kneel down before Christ in reverence, before the Eucharist, where he gives himself to us. And second, to kneel before others in humble service, just like he did. And the thing is, you can't do just one and not the other. Not really. Because if we kneel in prayer before Jesus, but never bow down in service to our neighbor, we have missed the point. We have not fully grasped what the Eucharist, what thanksgiving is really all about. And if we serve others, but forget to draw our strength and direction from Jesus present in the Eucharist, then we will run dry. On the night he was betrayed, that is tonight. And this night kicks off the greatest journey of our faith, the great Passover from death into life. But we don't walk that alone. Christ walks it first. And actually, he invites us to follow him. First, by kneeling before him in reverence, and then by rising to serve one another in love. Because every time we wash each other's feet, literally or figuratively, God's love is breaking through. Every time, God's love breaks through. And through that love, friends, hearts are softened. Prejudice loses its grip. Hatred dissolves. Coldness turns warm. And fear is replaced with peace. All because of what Jesus did on the night he was betrayed.